Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jasmine Rossi, or, as some of you may call me, Rocci, Rocky, J-Ross, Gupta, Jarastafari, Punchkin, or anything in between. When I was thinking about what to write this speech on, I tried to reflect on what other people had said in previous years. In the past, I've heard a lot of speeches about being yourself and finding who you are. And they all got me thinking. But after each one, I struggled a little bit. Am I a nerd? Yes. But service and athletics are important too. And do I like music? Some of you may already know the answer is yes, from the many Snapchat stories of me dancing. Through all my soul searching, I couldn't really find a label for myself. And I got a little confused. I was sure I wasn't alone in this dilemma. Everyone here at Appleby is academic, artsy, sporty, and gives back to the community in some way. You might be wondering why I told you guys my nicknames at the beginning of this speech. Well, it's because all of those names make up me. I don't just have one label, I have many. And my many labels and many experiences are what make up me. At the beginning of the service, you were each handed one of these tags. And I know you guys have some pens that the wardens have handed out. What I want you to do right now is write down 3 of the most important labels you think you have and put the tag on your blazer. It could be anything from goal setter to friend to captain. I'll do it with you. Go ahead. So I think most people have their tags on their blazers now, or at least are working on them. What I want you to take note of is the combinations people have on their name tags. What's interesting is that more often than not, the combinations are different. So let me talk to you about my combination. Firstly, you see Traveler. Last year, I was fortunate enough to travel to Mongolia on a March break service project. There, we worked with children and built a recreational area in an orphanage, as well as taught children English, all while getting to learn about the rich Mongolian history. The experience was honestly once in a lifetime. One of my favorite memories is when I was in the orphanage with the children. The room I was working in had children 3 years old and younger, and our job was pretty much to play with them. When they first met me, the children were reluctant to interact. But on this particular day, they were finally warming up to me. I got so excited when one of the kids asked me to pick him up and play with him. One other girl saw what I was doing and wanted to join in the fun. And how could I say no to such a cute face? So I tried to pick her up too, but then more kids joined, tugging on my scrubs and wanting to play. Next thing I know, I had been brought down by the children and had a mound of screaming laughter on top of me and surrounding me. There's honestly only one word to describe this experience: joy. I was surrounded by pure joy. I didn't have to do much at all, and somehow I managed to bring happiness to these kids. And their happiness brought me happiness. This made me realize that giving back is more important and rewarding than personal gain. it added another piece to me. My experiences are pieces that make up me. Secondly, you see, nerd. I'm sure it won't be much of a surprise if I tell you academics are very important to me. As I've said before, some may say I'm a wee bit of a nerd. In other words, I laugh a little bit too hard at chemistry jokes. But I want to tell you a story that you may think is unusual for a proud academic to tell. Let me set the scene. It was a warm fall's afternoon. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and I was about to get my very first math test back of grade 9. As I walked out to the G5 classroom, I could see Mr. Miskey's handwriting on the windows. This was it, the start of my high school career as a math student. I walked into that class with a skip in my step. But let's just say it's as if I skipped a few steps on the way up. When I walked out of that class, I looked down at my paper, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. 62. Yep, I got 62%. Needless to say, I was not a happy camper. On top of it, I thought my parents were going to be livid. When I went home that night, I just bawled. I thought I was no longer smart. Much to my surprise, instead of my parents being mad at me, they consoled me. And what they told me in this moment was one of the most powerful lessons I've ever learned. They told me that this test was simply another piece of me. It did not define me. It did not take away from the other pieces of me. I was, and still am, the nerd I want to be. It's just, I had to learn from the mistake. And I did. From this experience, I became more disciplined. My labels, my experiences, and my mistakes are pieces that make up who I am. Speaking of my parents, the third label is family. You can see my family at the back. My mom, Sunil, my brother, Nicholas, and my dad, Adrian. They're the people who are probably beaming, or in my mom's case, hiding a box of tissues. And they're my idols. They made me who I am today and shaped my morals. Let me explain. First is my mom, Sunil. She's honestly the guiding light through my life. Through every laugh, every tiff, and every moment we share, she somehow manages to teach me something new. I honestly could go on for hours talking about all of the lessons, both small and big, that she's taught me. But the largest lesson she's emphasized throughout my life is the one that gives me the most confidence and guides my actions. It's that everyone is born equal. So everyone should be treated this way. I am no better nor worse than anyone. I'm just me. Mom, your lessons have allowed me to be confident in who I am. There's also my brother Nick. When I was 5 years old, my little brother Nicholas was born. And I swear he was born smiling. He may be one of the happiest people I've ever met. I remember the first time I met him. He was sitting in the hospital bed, and I really didn't know how to react. Somehow, though, this newborn baby taught me a lesson. I gave him my favorite Beanie Baby, and in return, the little guy smiled. He showed me the rewards of being selfless. And now, he's one of my best friends. Nick, you're the youngest in our family, yet you're somehow the wisest. You managed to teach the rest of us lessons that we didn't know we needed. I'm so lucky I can say I'm your big sister. Because of you, I'm more kind, and around you, I'm me. My label as a big sister is a piece of who I am. Finally, there's my dad. My dad likes to come up with a lot of sayings. There's one saying in particular that has stuck with me, and that is, play your game. Basically, what it means is to do your own thing. To not worry about what other people are doing because you can perform better as yourself than you can as anyone else. And it's really the moral that inspired this entire speech. So Dad, thanks to you and your sayings, I'm being me with all my different pieces. I'm here playing my game. There are many pieces to a person: labels, experiences, mistakes, and morals. Each piece is vital to the unique individual. You are like puzzles. At first glance, everyone just sees the big picture. People may try to label you, try to identify the one thing you are. But then they look closer, and they realize you aren't just a single picture. You have a bunch of tiny pieces making up one beautiful, unique you. It's your combination of pieces that makes you different than the people sitting around you. All of your labels, mistakes, experiences, and morals, your stories, as the prefix may say, are what make you, you. But here's the challenge. Look at your name tag. Whether it's labeling yourself, fitting in with that one clique, or trying to be as much of an Appleby student as possible, sometimes we try and fit all of ourselves into a little box. So we may ignore some parts of ourselves, suppress them, and try to find the simple version of who we are. We don't have to fit into that box. Every single piece of us makes us unique. So embrace your story and express every part of you. By doing so, you're expressing what's exceptional about you. Allow your full self to shine through, because it's your special combination that makes your picture-perfect puzzle, that makes you, you. Now please rise and sing hymn number 460, Lord, the Light of Your Love is Shining.